My daughter's arms, threatening to cut off my hands, threatening to kidnap Daniel and take off with him, and I'd never see him again.
Terry sought refuge at a woman's shelter. She knew what she had to do. She just needed to plan out how she would divorce her husband and stay alive.
The only reason I stayed was I couldn't figure out how to get away from him and still protect my children and my family.
James Ward's tirades of hate were taking their toll. One day, even Daniel became a victim.
Daniel stopped dead in his tracks and he said, "Mama, Daddy's got a gun and I said, "Daniel, Daddy loves you. He's not going to hurt you." I knew that Jim had threatened Melissa and me, but I would never have believed that he would have hurt Daniel.
Just 3 weeks after Terry divorced her husband, he asked for and got a week's visitation with his son. Daniel's week-long vacation passed uneventfully, but the day he was supposed to come home,
the phone rang, and Jim made lewd remarks. He said, "If you're not coming back to me, I'm putting a bullet in his head and mine." And I hung up. I went into a panic. I hung up, and I called his mother, who was visiting in Victoria, and asked her to go over there and stop him. He's threatening to kill Daniel.
The police and James Ward's mother, begging her to run to his apartment. Then she attached a tape recorder to the phone to get proof that her ex-husband was threatening her child.
When the phone rang, he said, "Well, here he is. You know, Mom's here. I guess you called the cops."
I guess the cops will be here to come. Honey, I do love you.
Kill my baby! I'm gonna threaten to kill my baby!
You want to tell him goodbye?
You're gonna kill him!
Yes, I am. There he is. You made a decision. It's all my bluff. Huh? Hey, you're the one that called the cops. You thought you were a cool bitch. Huh? You did. She's almost right. Huh? Think about it.
James bullet on himself. Both father and son were rushed to the hospital. Only the father would survive.
All I could do was just touch him and hold him forth and tell him how much I loved him, hoping he could hear me.
It can't be any colder to look at your baby son in the face, and the evidence showed that he looked at the baby in the face and the child was talking to him. It cannot be any colder act than to place the muzzle of that weapon against the baby's forehead and fire it.
After a quick deliberation, the jury found James Ward guilty and sentenced him to life in prison for murdering his son Daniel. But in the state of Texas, life in prison does not mean life behind bars.
He'll be out. Ultimately, he will be out. If a man is capable of killing his baby son, what is he capable of with someone he doesn't care about?
We contacted James Ward at Huntsville Prison, but he refused to talk to A Current Affair. So far, he has served 3 of the 15 years he must serve before he becomes eligible for parole.
What do I do to protect my daughter and myself? Do we sit here like sitting ducks? Do I quit my job that I've held for a long period of time and leave and run and hide because the system won't take care of this man? What do I do? Where does it end?
In the meantime, Terry lobbies in her home state of Texas to make killing a child a capital offense, and she finds comfort in the organization Parents of Murdered Children.
Basically, we're meeting on reforming the criminal justice sentencing, I guess, in Texas.
But there's no comforting 10-year-old Melissa, Daniel's stepsister.
This was very difficult for Melissa. It's just devastated her.
Does anybody understand? No one knows.
Every time I see a little blonde-haired child, my arm aches to hold Daniel. I hear that shot ringing in my ear every single day. And I just know that things won't end.
Terry Jeffrey says she'll continue to fight for capital punishment for child killers. Now, still ahead on a current affair, the Casanova cabbie who thought he had a license to break hearts.
2 days after we had been going out, he asked me to marry him.
She wasn't his only wife. Now they've slammed the brakes on his marriage mania. That's next. And later, Garth Brooks gives country music a makeover. Next week, in historic Micanopy, Florida, the townfolk are in an uproar over this racy restaurant because they don't want a hot time in the old town.
What do you say? What do you say?
The other day, I gave my son $1 for his allowance. What's this? The tip? So I took it back and brought it to Burger King. And they gave me a delicious flame-broiled double cheeseburger for 99 cents. Imagine that, 99 cents. Which meant I had a penny left over. So I gave it to my son. He asked, "What's this?" I said, "Your allowance." The kid needed an attitude adjustment.
Your way, right away at Burger King now.
St. Catherine's was in danger of closing.
Hey now, hold on. Wait a minute.
Until they opened the doors to a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Now she's introducing the sisterhood to the neighborhood.
Expecting any more of your friends?
And putting inspiration back into the choir.
Oh, this war.
Joel Siegel calls a divine comedy.
Oh, I'm dying.
Sister Act.
We've had a lovely time. We'll be back.
Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Open sesame. Open sesame.
Make opening your garage door easy with a new Genie garage door opener. Now under $160, including 2 transmitters in Handy Andy's month-long catalog. Put the power of the Genie in the palm of your hand today. Want to see more magic? Then try the Genie 12-gallon professional shop vacuum. It picks up dirt, nails, even $75 after rebate, which means the one thing it won't suck up is your savings. Handy Andy, a definite improvement in home improvement.
Where do you go for Highland? Oops, bad idea. Highland's price on this Sunray range was $51 more than Fredder. Well, let's try again. Wrong. Highland's price on this GE range was $64 higher than Fredder. Okay, one more try. Uh-oh. Highland's price on this Amana refrigerator was $73 more than Fredder. Where's the deal, Highland? It's real obvious. If you want Fredder prices, you've got to go to Fredder.
But this taxi driver has a way of winning women and then driving off with their hearts. Mike Watkiss met Larry's fair ladies.
That I was beautiful, that I was sexy. And you want to hear this.
He was a good date, but he was a lousy husband. This man is a screw, and he preys on people wanting to be loved. And everybody wants that, but he knows how to push the right buttons.
He's no Don Juan. He's not Valentine. Certainly not Warren Beatty. But this Salt Lake City cab driver named Larry McMillan does seem to have his own unique way. His way into women's hearts, and apparently his own inevitable way of breaking them.
If he were here in this room right now, he'd better be behind bars, because I'd kill him. I mean, I would demasculate that man in a minute if I had the chance.
He has left financial ruin on many of the situations. He has caused further damage as far as emotional, psychological impacts of these people. There are a lot of females out there that literally hate this man.
And most of them, it seems, are Larry's wives. That's right, wives, as in plural.
I started suspecting that I might not be his only wife. As far as I know, I'm still married to him. There are 6 marriage licenses in Salt Lake County, 2 in Elko, and 1 in Davis County. And then he married the same lady twice.
He's been married 10 or 12 times.
And if all this sounds a little confusing, well, it is. But then again, most things concerning this carousing cabbie are confusing. The one thing we do know is that Larry McMillan is now a convicted bigamist with possibly 6 wives. Or maybe it's 16. Or perhaps it's more than 20. The problem is no one, not even Larry, seems to know for sure.
He just can't quit from chasing skirts.
Dixie is one of Larry's most recent brides. Her story seems typical. She describes herself as a lonely divorced invalid who desperately wanted some male companionship. So she says she had an idea one day to place a personal ad in the romance column of a small Utah newspaper. And to her surprise, within a couple of weeks, her ad got a response. A sweet-talking taxi driver named Larry started to call. At first, they just chatted on the telephone, but within a few days, the cabbie was dispatching himself to Dixie's front door.
Funny thing about Larry was that he made me feel over the phone like he was madly in love with me without ever meeting me. I was looking for somebody just to do things with, just to go places and have a good time. I don't drive in the evenings, and I was just looking for somebody to have a good time with. He says, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you are. We're going to get along so well. The very first night we went out to dinner, I rode around with him in his taxi, and he picked me up every day in the afternoons, and we rode for several weeks. And I thought I really knew him.
And the next thing Dixie knew, she and Larry were married. But she says the honeymoon was over almost before it began.
We met in September. We were married in October. The 20th of December of 1989, he walked out.
Once he was gone, a little digging.
I called the Salt Lake County Marriage License Bureau, and they could pull it up under his last name. And they found 6 marriages until such time as I got really, really mad. And then when I got really, really mad, I quit my crying.
And today, Dixie has plenty to be mad about. She is losing her home of 20 years, in part, she says, because of the financial problems brought on by her marriage to Larry.
I'm sick and tired of people taking advantage of people in my condition or in other people's condition, and they're all women.
And this sad saga of the cat in the cab has other painful chapters, including one involving one of Larry McMillan's former girlfriends who has a serious case of arthritis. She says Larry needed money one time and talked her into hawking the motorized scooter she needs to get around. She says Larry gladly took the money, but then promptly jumped in his cab and took off down the road.
He's sneaky, and he's a bigamist.
When Dixie made her complaints public, the response was swift. Women throughout the region began coming forward with their own tales of the taxi driver. Larry had certainly gotten around.
Larry's first comment was, size doesn't matter. Outside appearances doesn't matter to him.
It's not right to the women that he can think it's funny, because we've had to for our own self-preservation. But I don't want anybody else to go through it. No woman should have to lose her dignity that way, to feel that way about any man.
We formed a Larry McMillan support group, and we just laugh. It is so comical now, except that he keeps hurting women.
And to help stop the hurt, the Larry McMillan support group recently took a field trip to a Utah courthouse. The occasion, Larry was going to be sentenced after copying a guilty plea to 1 count of bigamy. It was a day many of these women had looked forward to for years.
Larry, my name is Mike Watkins. I'm with the show at Current Affair. Can I ask you a couple of questions? You know, some of these women say that you've ruined their lives. What do you say about that, Larry?
Excuse me.
It's a very, you know, these are very... What do you say to that, Larry?
But in the end, it was the judge who let the air out of Larry's tires. He sent the cabbie to the Utah State Prison for a 90-day psychiatric evaluation. And the women who had been taken for a ride all seemed satisfied with the ruling.
Larry has finished his 90-day evaluation and has promised to straighten up all his outstanding marriages. We'll be right back with the confessions of America's coolest.
All right, okay. I do have an ego.
This sizzling star has set the country music scene on fire. Garth Brooks gets down next. Tomorrow, exclusive, A Current Affair opens our own investigation into the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
The Brooker boys are here on tour. What's been the highlight of your Lake Edna stop, Matt?
I'd say this new honey barbecued chicken, Russ. Fried chicken glazed in a special sauce with a touch of honey. Get 2 pieces with baked beans, coleslaw, and a biscuit in a roundup meal for just $2.99.
That was completely unsolicited.
The 2-piece honey barbecue roundup meal, just $2.99, or the 8-piece meal, just $9.99 for a limited time in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
This message is for all you Michiganians out there. In Detroit, Traverse City, the Upper Peninsula, everywhere. Did you know you could win $100,000 like that with this, the Michigan People all over Michigan are winning big. Match 3 numbers and pick up a quick 20. 4 wins you a quick 350. And match all 5 and you win $100 grand.
Cash 5. Play Cash.
Play Cash 5 every Tuesday and Friday.
Hi, I'm Bill McDonald. We're way overstocked with new cars, trucks, and vans, so we're marking these vehicles to sell at McDonald Pontiac Cadillac GMC. Look at these buys. Pontiac Sunbirds, $8,900, Grand Ams, $10,900, Cadillac Sedan DeVille's, $28,900, the new Cadillac Eldorado, only $539 a month, and trucks, half-ton pickups, $12,500. Look at this, full-size vans, $17,500. Number 1 in mid-Michigan, McDonald's, a free loaner car, people. State Street, Saginaw.
This weekend, get a ticket. Your life. Mel Gibson. It's the summer's biggest smash.
What's that?
Yeah! Lethal Weapon 3, rated R, now playing.
Good evening. This is a 25 news break. Coming up at 5:30, a local police department sets up. Local business owners are taking their sales pitches to Poland. A Saginaw woman makes a stand for victims' rights after her son's murder, and Saginaw investigation. 25 news at 5:30.
Garth Brooks' was such a hit, it even edged out the mighty Michael Jackson at the top of the charts. But success carries a price. Gene Wolfe heard all about life, love, and the lure of the groupies when she spoke to our Mr. Brooks.
The thunder and the lightning strikes.
Garth Brooks is riding high on the record charts. He became the king of popular music by giving country a fresh sound and a new look.
Garth, all our fantasies about country singers revolve around those cowboy ads. Where's yours?
Back home in Oklahoma. So what I'm showing you is pretty much what everybody wears back home.
GB's search to success has been as unstoppable as a wild bull. Currently, he has 3 top 20 albums. His latest has already sold over 4 million.
I'll give Garth Brooks credit if you'll understand that Garth Brooks is a hell of a lot more than one guy.
Behind that kind of aw-shucks approach of yours, there has to be some ego involved, isn't there?
All right. You know, I do like to be out in front of people, and I do like to hear my stuff on the radio. And seeing yourself on TV, hey, man, it's me, you know. I could lose a little weight, and I got to go to the dentist and get these things filed down. I mean, it's just to poke fun and have fun, and just say, hey, this is cool.
Just give me an hour and then.
When I first started out, it just, hey, you know, I was very flattered to sign things, and I thought, wow, this is cool, you know, if a woman would. And it was like, you know, well, if you hold still, you know. This lady wanted me to sign her butt, and I'm sitting here and I'm, you know, it would have been, I wouldn't have minded because it wasn't a big space. I mean, she was very well put together. And I just told her, I said, ma'am, I said, you know, I would love to. I said, but as being a mate to my wife, I can't. it crushed me. It was like, I can't believe I just did this.
Raindrops on the windshield, there's a storm moving in.
Garth didn't always resist temptation.
Somewhere that he never should have been.
He's frankly and publicly admitted that life on the road almost destroyed his...
Comparing it to anything like, you know, the public stuff of like Swaggart and stuff where he comes out and says that stuff. That wasn't how it was. But it did take the fact that, hey, a nation watches you and there are children out there that watch you. You better shape your act up.
On stage, you're just like one of those crazy rock stars.
It's the music, and all it is just, you know, it's like a jukebox unplugged. It's a totally different machine, and I guess that's kind of like me.
Garth's latest single, Papa Loved Mama, has topped the country charts. We'll be right back. Next week, cops say 3 innocent boys snuck out of their homes and into the arms of a madman, but one played dead to catch a killer.
Dieters have created different formulas.
My appetite was huge until Accutrim Maximum Strength. I'd lose my willpower after 16 hours.
Accutrim, one is right for you.
Before you freeze, remember this rule of thumb. Get Ziploc brand freezer bags with the gripper zipper. Tough, tiny teeth you can feel gripping, so you know freshness is locked in, freezer burns out. Do like me. Protect your ears. There's only one Ziploc.
I'll tell you, for years I was faithful to wash one of my husband's T-shirts in an unbranded detergent and another in liquid surf. I said, fine, go ahead. And, you know, they both look spotless. But then he applied this iron, and it released all of these hidden odors. The surf shirt smelled much cleaner. So now we use that. He is clean.
Pump it. Squeeze it. Spray it. Forget it. When these pre-treaters fail, try harder with Era Plus. Here's why. This pre-treater can't beat this grass stain, even with detergent. But watch Era power through with just a spray of water. Era Plus, the power tool for stains.
What do you say? What do you say?
The other day, I gave my son $1 for his allowance. He looked at me and said, "What's this, the tip?" So I took it back and brought it to Burger King. And they gave me a delicious flame-broiled double cheeseburger for 99 cents. Imagine that, 99 cents, which meant I had a penny left over. So I gave it to my son. He asked, "What's this?" I said, "Your allowance." The kid needed an attitude adjustment.
Your way, right away at Burger King now.
Here's what's coming up on A Current Affair. Exclusive, A Current Affair opens our own investigation into the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. Hushed up evidence of a second gun. Eyewitness testimony that Sirhan could not have acted alone.
There was a second gun involved.
The former FBI agent who blows apart the official findings.
There had to be a second gun.
RFK, Shadows of Doubt. That story and more Friday on A Current Affair. And that's all the time we have for tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow, everyone. Good night.
25 News at 5:30. A local police department sets up shop in a new location. We'll have details. And a few local business owners are taking their sales pitches to Poland. Those stories, plus weather and sports, are all coming up next. See what a difference